We call these programs as RISE, which means Rejuvenate in Spiritual Environment. So this is a program by Bhakti Yoga Club of Samskriti Township, especially meant for youth and that too especially for working men and women. So these RISE programs are regular weekend programs where working people gather and learn about spirituality. We have interactive sessions. We teach mantra meditation. We have melodious and soul-stirring kirtans. And definitely we have delicious prasadam. And Bhakti Yoga Club has been there in township from more than 13 years now, as doing various wonderful activities. And to name a few, we have Bhagavad Gita classes. We organize wonderful festivals. Like most of you might have already been to the recent Jagannath Rath Yatra, which we organized. And we have the upcoming Janmashtami. And we are delighted to extend invitation to all of you to also become a part of this Bhakti Yoga Club. And today we have a very, very special program, and we have a very special speaker with us, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu.
Thank you very much for coming today. Let us begin with some short prayers. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you for coming today. And broadly today, I will speak on the topic of karma, and mainly I'll talk about 3 misunderstandings about karma and how they can be resolved. So before I start, I would like all of you to share, when you hear the word karma, what does it mean to you? So if we consider the word karma, Hare Krishna. Yeah. What does it mean to you? How many of you have heard the word karma? Okay. So I think all of us have heard it. So what does it mean to you? I'd like to start from that understanding and then we'll develop the understanding further. So what does karma mean? Sorry, you have a mic? Okay, karma is basically, it's like our action is there and then we will get a reaction. So according to our action, we get reaction. That is karma. Anything else? That's true, definitely. Anything else? So I have been a monk and a spiritual teacher for almost 30 years now. For the last 10 years, I have been traveling outside, 10, 12 years I've been traveling outside India. And in the West, the word karma has become quite common now. There are some words from the Indian tradition which have become mainstream in the West. So bazaar is one, karma is another. Then even now, to some extent, yoga has become a word in the Western world. So in the West, when people use the word karma, there are some other senses also in which it is used. So for example, I met one American young woman and she said she's very interested in Indian music. Indian musical instruments, sitar and others. And she said, I think it's in my karma. I think it's in my karma to be interested in this. So here, the word karma is being used in a slightly different sense, isn't it? So here in my karma. What do you think here the word means? No, but it's a present interest, isn't it? I have an interest. So what does it's in my karma. What does it mean? Yeah, it's in the past. You are on the right track. It's destiny. It's something like a gift from the past. It's an interest that I have from the past. So now we all know probably children who are prodigies. They're small and they have phenomenal talents. Some kids might be whiz at maths. Some kids might be geniuses at music. So that extraordinary talent, it's some kind of gift coming from the past. So we could call it destiny. Destiny it is true. Destiny is a slightly bigger word. But here you see a different example of the word, different meaning of the word karma being used, isn't it? So karma is a somewhat complex concept. Any other senses in which you have heard the word karma being used? So Mike, you can use the mic and speak.
Deeds.
Sorry, I'm not hearing.
Good or bad deeds in the
So-
past life.
So you're saying karma is the result of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes if you are angry with someone, you might say, I don't know what karma I did in the past because of which you are in my life now. Isn't it? That's not a very complimentary thing to say to anyone. But so karma can refer to the action-reaction principle. That actions lead to reaction. That's what you talked about. But karma can also refer to reaction itself. Now, we all have to suffer our karma. We all have to endure our karma. Okay? That's another word. Anything else? So it's something which is destined, something which is inevitable. Yeah? So here's something which is inevitable. This was meant to happen. So, for example, if someone passes away suddenly because of a heart attack or accident, we may say it must have been karma. So we use that word for something inevitable. Okay. Any other senses in which the word is used? Little loudly, please. Or you can use the mic.
Yeah, something that is causal, that has cause and effect sort of thing. And the other thing I would like to add on is the closed loop form, which
Is
we
the-
can't escape. That comes in a loop. Even if whatever births we take, that runs in a loop, you cannot come out of it.
Yes. So it can refer to causal action. So action, karma also refers to action which will become a cause and that will lead to reaction in future. And then karma can also become like a loop or a chain. That's why we say that somebody is bound, karma bandhana. That is a word which often comes in Sanskrit, that we are bound by our karma. So let's look at each of these meanings. Anything else anyone would like to add? Yes, please. Karma can also refer to what we are meant to do, our duties. So everybody has to do their karma. So Krishna says, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. He says, you do your karma. So we could say our duties, what we are expected to do. That also refers to karma. So, thank you. Anybody wants to add anything more? Okay. So, broadly, the word karma, it can be understood in 4 different ways. That I can use it with the acronym ARCS. A is the action that we do. That is karma. Then the reaction that we get. That is also karma. Now, the connection between action and reaction. That is also karma. The principle, like the law of karma, we say. That is connection between action and reaction. And the last is selection of action. That we should be careful about what karma we do. So we should act wisely, we should choose wisely. So the previous three understandings, karma as action, karma as reaction, karma as the connection between action and reaction, all these three are meant to help us to choose the right action. To help us to come to selection of the right action. Okay. So if you have the book, can you open it? We'll read a particular verse from the Bhagavad Gita. This is, if you can go to the page 166 in the book. So in this book, I have taken some key verses from the Bhagavad Gita and rendered them in English as prayers, and poetically I've translated them. So if you have the book, fine. Otherwise, I'm also displaying it over here. So you can repeat after me if you like. My dear Lord, let me focus on present dharma, not on past karma. So this is the principle that we will try to understand, that what is the point of understanding karma? It is the selection of the right action that is associated with the word dharma. So if you like, we can recite this verse. So Krishna is telling, Karmano yapi bodhavyam bodhavyam cha vikarmana akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. Know what action is to be accepted. Know what action is to be rejected. Know what action will bring no reaction. Karma's movements can defy human conception. This is Bhagavad Gita 4.17. So, who would like to read in one paragraph the voice one? In India, cricket is a hugely popular sport. So, when India had won the World Cup long ago, at that time there's one player who didn't play a single match, and yet his picture was there on all the World Cup winning teams' pictures. So what happened was that sometimes in life, we also get more than what we deserve. Maybe while we were growing up, there was some kid in the neighborhood who was very mean to us. Maybe he was like a bully. And it feels, why is this person mistreating me like this? And that's true, unfortunately, it happens. But then we may also see that there might be some teacher who takes a special liking for us, or there might be some other person who is very helpful to us. So in one sense, life in the big picture, yes, sometimes we get worse than what we deserve, and sometimes we get better than what we deserve. And why does this happen? Because karma, while it is here, the karma is causal. Causal means cause leads to effect. But karma is not just causal. Karma is also cumulative. Cumulative means it accumulates. So quite often, when we are getting less than what we deserve, what it means is something negative is coming from the past. So some negative karma from the past, a minus 90 comes, and that's why what we get now is, although we're putting in 100, we get only 10. Now sometimes, on the other hand, the past might be positive. And therefore, we might do a little, but we may get a lot of result. So the principle is, yes, karma is causal. But the cause may not just be the immediate cause. It can be a remote cause also. And this is not that difficult to understand. Say, if we have a childhood friend, and maybe in childhood we were a bit mean to that person. Maybe we were a little rude, we were a little harsh. We didn't treat them very well. And now we are working in the same company, we are colleagues. And now we are nice and friendly and polite with them. We are nice to them, but still that person is a little cold with us. So now we may say, why are you being cold with me like this? I'm being nice to you. But they say, the person will say, I'm not sure whether your being nice is really who you are, or is it just a mask you are wearing so that you want to get something out of me. Get it? So if we have been a little rude or harsh with that person in the past, we may have to spend some time. Consistently, if we are good to that person now, then gradually those past memories will go away. So if there's minus 90 coming from the past, then we may have to bring 100, 200, 300 from the present, and then that person will also start reciprocating. So the situations we face right now in life are not always the results of our present actions. So this is easy to understand in other areas also. Suppose somebody is learning music. Say two people are playing a mridanga or a drum. Now when they're playing a mridanga, say one of them has just practiced for 10 minutes and has come and playing. And other person has practiced for 100 hours. Now both of them speak, they're beating their fingers against the mridanga, the drum. Now the person who has practiced for 100 hours, people will say, wonderful, more. Please play more. The other person who just practiced for 10 minutes, people will say, no more. Stop now. So why the difference? Because results that we get are not just due to our present actions. So present plus past. Now, how much past will it go? So in the mridanga playing example, in the musical instrument playing example, say maybe that 100 hours is over the last 6 months they have practiced. Now if we consider we were mean to somebody in their childhood, that may be 10, 15 years, 20 years before. So it can go backward. Now what the Gita says is that things can go backward to beyond this life also. To beyond this life also. And that's why the situations that we face at present are not just a result. One is the result of our present actions, or the other is just life is arbitrary. Life is chaotic and just life is like a lottery, and some people win, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. It's just completely arbitrary. It's not like that. So the idea is that there is some past karma which may be unknown to us. So when we are doing something and we are not getting the results. So for example, now when action does not lead to results, if it doesn't, action does not, there are no results from the action, then we have two options. One option is that to think that life itself is arbitrary. Arbitrary means that it's just like sometimes some people win, sometimes some people lose. It's all just like a lottery. It's just chance. Now this is a very discouraging way to live, because we all try to create a better life for ourselves. We all try to work hard, and to think that life is totally arbitrary can be very disorienting. Now the other is to think that God is against us. That life is arbitrary means that just things, there is no principle of action, reaction, connection. It's just arbitrary. Now, life is arbitrary is very discouraging. This is basically, you could say, an atheistic worldview. But if somebody starts thinking God is against me, that is far more damaging. So you may think, what did I do to God? Why is God against me? Isn't it? So now both of these are extreme understandings. What is the understanding here? The balanced is that if action is not leading to result, then there is past action that is causing the delay. So my action is not leading to results because some past karma is coming in. So if we understand this principle, what it leads to is, as I said, acceptance. Okay, maybe I'm going through a phase in my life where my actions are not bearing results. But acceptance is not passivity. Passivity means, oh, therefore, I will not do anything at all. No, it's not that simple. We cannot afford to be passive. Because if you go back to this particular point, or let's put it in terms of principle over here, there is my present karma and there is my past karma. And there is the phala that comes, the result that comes because of this. So now among these three, which one is most desirable for us? Which is what we want? The result is what we desire. Now this is what we want. Now among these three, which is what we can control? Present karma, yes. And which is it that we can't control, change or know? Past. So this is almost like you could say, we can't change it and we can't even know it to a large extent. So now there is something coming from our past which we don't know. But that past is not always going to be negative. So when we are saying acceptance, and acceptance is different from passivity. What it means is that, yes, maybe sometimes I'm going through a bad phase in my life and because of which something bad is happening to me. But that does not mean that I should not do the right thing in the present. So it's acceptance, not passivity. Let me focus on my present karma right now. When I came in, some of you may have noticed that I need crutches for walking. So when I was about 1, I was staying in Maharashtra in a small town, Chandrapur, and my mother took me to a clinic to get the polio vaccine. And unfortunately, because of a small town, often there would be power outages over there. And the previous night in the clinic area, there had been a power outage, because of which the fridge in which the vaccine had been kept had become heated up. And because of the increased heat, the vaccines, the germs inside the vaccine had multiplied. And when neither the attendant nor the physician noticed that. And when the vaccine was given to me, because the germ dosage was too high, instead of preventing polio, it ended up causing polio. Now, I don't remember any of this. I was told that I was just learning to walk and I fell down and I couldn't walk normally thereafter. But my first memory of this is, I was about 2.5 or 3, and a distant relative had come to our home, and she was consoling my mother saying, "Oh, it's so sad, your son got polio." And I remember my mother's voice, very calm, clear, confident. She said, whatever he lacks physically, God will provide him intellectually. Now, I don't know why she said that, whether she saw some intellectual ability on me or it was more like a hope or a prayer from her side. But somehow that stayed with me. Not the God part, that came later, but the intellectually part. And as I was growing up, I couldn't play outdoor games like other kids could play. But when I started studying, I noticed that I could read quite rapidly, I could grasp things quickly, I could remember quite well, I could articulate things clearly. And slowly it started settling within me that yes, the fact that I could not move naturally, normally, which was unfair. I could say that, what did I do to deserve this physical disability? But then I could also turn that question around and say, what did I do to deserve this intellectual ability? So yes, life is unfair, but in the big picture, life is fairly unfair. Fairly unfair means what? In some areas, we get worse than what we deserve, and in some areas, we also get better than what we deserve. So, acceptance means that okay, in some areas, life may be unfair to us, in some areas, like people may treat us badly, but just accept it. If we come to the Bhagavad Gita's context, the Pandavas didn't start with troubling or antagonizing the Kauravas. They didn't really do anything deliberately to provoke the Kauravas. But Duryodhana was insecure and Duryodhana constantly started targeting them. And that led to unfortunate situations. But then they also found when they came from the forest, they had been born in the forest, and their father had passed away. If you could consider the Pandavas and the Kauravas, if you look at their upbringing, something unfair or something bad happened in the lives of both of them. So right from their early childhood, something bad happened to the Pandavas. What was that? Sorry, yeah? Yes, their father died. So they had no father. Now something bad happened to the Kauravas also. What was that? What was the issue with their father? He was blind. So now, which is worse, to have no father or to have a blind father? Well, generally, if you decide to compare suffering, which suffering is worse? It is whichever suffering I am going through is the worst. That's how we feel, isn't it? But the thing is, life was not a bed of roses for either of them. The Kauravas could have said that, why? Duryodhana could have said, if my father had not born blind, if my father had eyes, then I would straight have got the kingdom. Now, he would have become the king, and as his son, I would have become the king. So the Kauravas had something to be angry about with life, and the Pandavas also had something to be angry about. Why did my father have to die? Now here, actually, we can choose. See, in our life, we can choose whether we focus on how life is unfair to us. And if that is unfair, we will become resentful. We become angry with life, we become angry with people, angry with the world. And this is the path that the Kauravas chose. And unfortunately, Duryodhana chose. Now the other path is, we can focus on how life is fair to us. Yes, there are some areas in which life is unfair, but some areas in which life is fair also. And that is when we can become resourceful. Resourceful means, okay, whatever is fair in my life, whatever is right in my life, let me use it, let me work on it. This is the path that the Pandavas chose. Yes. So the first point of understanding karma is to get us with acceptance. Come to peace with how life is. Life is unfair to everyone. Now this does not mean that life is equally unfair to everyone. Yes, some people have had far tougher life than others. Say somebody's an orphan and somebody has a very demanding parent. And being an orphan is far more difficult than having a demanding parent. But even for a person who has a demanding parent, life is not easy, it's difficult. So somebody may not have a demanding parent, somebody may have a negligent parent. That can also be a problem. That parent is not there only to care. Parent is not even available or aware of what we are going through. So my point is that we all face unfairness in life. And the principle of karma is meant to help us come to peace, acceptance. Yeah, this is how it is. Let me accept it. Now, acceptance is not passivity. And that's where the next point will come up. What was the acronym we were discussing? Anyone remembers? ACE. Yes, how karma can help us ace through life. So A was acceptance. So we accept, okay, so whatever situation I am in, I accept that. Now the second is commitment. Now commitment, not attachment. So let me explain this a little bit more. This everything that I'm going to talk about, it's a visual. If you consider a life journey, if we are on the journey of life, with respect to the past, with respect to what has happened, we want acceptance. Okay, whatever situation I have got in my life, whatever happened in the past, I want to come to peace with it. At the same time, we want to create a better future. That is where we want commitment. Now, let me explain what I mean by commitment over here. Nowadays, the word commitment is often used in terms of relationships, and people are said to be commitment averse, commitment phobic sometimes. But generally, the word commitment, the way I am using it over here is that in life, whatever situation we are in, say if this is our life, there is what we put into the situation and what we get out of the situation. So now commitment is what we are putting into a situation. Now attachment is where we expect to get something out of the situation. So what is the difference between these two? Say, I travel across the world and give talks, and sometimes it happens that I'm giving a talk and the audience is looking at me as if they are watching a foreign language movie without subtitles. Their whole face is completely blank. Now, I try to be more energetic, more enthusiastic, give some relatable examples. But sometimes it's just, the audience is just not interested. Maybe somebody forced them to come or whatever. So then, if that happens, so I asked one of my gurus that if the audience is not very enthusiastic, what should I do? He's not very interested. So he gave me a very practical reply. He said, if your audience is not enthusiastic, then you see that class as a preparation for a future class where your audience will be enthusiastic. So what it means is that we can't control what we will get out of a situation. But what we can do is, we can control what we put into the situation. So it is very important to understand this principle. Why? Because we want the result, but the result is not in our control. So with respect to our past karma, we can come to acceptance. But with respect to the future, we don't know what we are going to get. So if you forget everything from this class, you can try to remember this one 4-quadrant diagram. This is our present karma. Now our present karma can be positive or it can be negative. That means we are doing something good or something bad, right? And similarly, our past karma can be positive or it can be negative. So now, if you consider 4 quadrants like this, where the present karma and past karma play out in different combinations. So among these 4 quadrants, which quadrant do you think is the best to be situated in? Yeah, it's the 4th quadrant. So if you're in the 4th quadrant, what will happen be, this is where we'll be super effective. Super effective means, oh, it's come off. Okay. Let's take it out and put back in. So is this past karma or present karma? Okay. So see, it's super effective. Like, let's consider a cricket example. Sometimes a batsman is batting very well, and somehow the batsman hits a very good shot, But some fielder just jumps in and takes a spectacular catch. And the batsman gets out. But the batsman is batting very well, and somehow a fielder reaches to a catch, but the fielder drops the catch. So what happens is that person is trying to do. Okay, now what happened? Okay. So now generally when our present karma is positive and our past karma is positive, whatever we do will give a lot of good results. Often the results are far more than what we expect. Have any of you heard this term called Midas touch? Anyone heard this term, Midas touch? No, okay. So Midas is a character from the Greco-Roman tradition. So he was said to be a person, whatever he would touch, it would turn into gold. So like some people, especially in business, they are said to have a Midas touch. That means some people are startup geniuses. They start a company and just grows. They take up another company and it grows. So whatever they start, it just grows. So it's a Midas touch. So I was in America. Can all of you come a little forward so that behind there's a path in case someone want to come in? Yeah. So I was in America. I was giving a talk in Florida, and one young man came to me, and he asked me this question: "Have you heard of the Midas touch?" I said, "Yeah." So he said, "I think I have got the reverse Midas touch." Reverse Midas touch means what? Whatever I do, it seems to fall apart. So now if somebody has the reverse Midas touch, means they are in which quadrant? Second quadrant, yes. So when we'll just be ineffective. Whatever we try to do, nothing will work. So now the important thing to understand is that no one stays in any one quadrant necessarily throughout their life. We go through different quadrants at different phases. I'll talk about characters over here to understand this. But let's consider a character like, so if, before we go to the characters as examples, so now among the remaining two quadrants, 1 and 3, which is good or which is bad and which is worse? 1 is where our present karma is positive, past karma is negative. 3 is where our past karma is positive and present karma is negative. In one, what will happen is we are trying to do good, but the results are not coming. This is where we will be under effective. Now, what will happen in 3? Our present karma is bad, but our past karma is good. This is where actually we will be destructive. How destructive? We are not doing good things, but because the past karma is positive, things are working for us. So if we consider the example, Duryodhan in his life from the Mahabharata is in this quadrant. Now, because of some past karma, he was a prince. But he was born in a royal family. But what happened? He was doing terrible things throughout his life. And many of his plans were successful. So when somebody wants to do bad things, not all people who want to do bad things are successful. Say if a bank has a lot of money, 10 people decide to rob the bank. Now out of the 9 people fail. 1 person succeeds. Now why does that 1 person succeed? Yes, it is such an irony that to do bad karma now, we have to have good karma from the past. You mean that to do bad karma successfully, to be successful in anything in life, we need to have some good karma from the past. So now if that same person, somebody may think, okay, I will start robbing and I'll do crime and I'll become an underworld don. Now somebody just goes and robs the bank for the first time and they get arrested. and they have a terrible attorney, and for one crime they are put for 30 years in jail. And then what happens is they wanted to do something bad, but they cannot even do anything bad successfully. So that is where the present karma is negative, past karma is also negative. Now, if somebody is short-tempered, now we all may be angry, but suppose somebody is angry, short-tempered, and they have a very influential politician or a billionaire as their father, and they have a gun with them, and they get angry and they take out the gun and shoot people. So then what is going to happen is, their past karma, because of which is positive, they are going to get some power. But the present karma is negative, they will become destructive. So actually it's dangerous to be in this quadrant. Among all 4 quadrants, this is the most dangerous quadrant to be in. Because we can do a lot of harm and we think I'll get away with the harm. But eventually, our past positive karma will get exhausted, and then the present negative karma will catch up with us. That's what in Hindi mein say, kya paap ka ghada bhar gaya hai. You have heard this saying? That is, the pot of karma has become now full, it's overflowing, and now you'll have to suffer. Now if you consider from the Mahabharata, Vidura falls in this quadrant. So now Vidura, why do you think he is in this quadrant? Sorry? Yes, he was born in royalty, but he never had any claim to the kingdom. So it was, he did not have any power. So he was wise, he could give good advice. But Dhritarashtra never listened to his advice. And it's very frustrating. So he could give good advice, but if people don't listen to his advice, it becomes very troublesome. So now this is a bad position to be in. Now if you consider the Pandavas after the war, not before. Before they also had to suffer, they had to be exiled, they were persecuted. But the Pandavas after the war, they brought in an era of peace and prosperity in the world. So their present karma was good, their past karma was also favorable. Now if we consider Dhritarashtra before the war, why specifically before the war? Dhritarashtra wanted his son to win. He was the only elder in the family now. So he should have been equal to his sons and his cousins, or at least he should have been considerate about his nephews, not cousins, his brother's sons. Now, but he was so blinded by his attachment to Duryodhan that his karma was negative. But even that, he was ready to allow Duryodhan to do bad things. But the problem was, at least he had some sadbuddhi. He understood that if Duryodhan goes on this track, he will be killed. But because he was so weak, even when Krishna came as the peace messenger, Krishna persuaded Dhritarashtra in a few minutes. Krishna told Dhritarashtra about the power that Arjuna has acquired by going to Swarga, the power with which Bhima had killed so many great demons in the forest. And Dhritarashtra said that, oh Krishna, your words have convinced me. But my son doesn't listen to me. So please convince him. Now he's supposed to be the king. He should have taken the authority. But he did not. So what happened is, the past karma is negative, because of which he had such a wicked son who had more or less usurped power from him. And he was presently too weak to take action. So now if we consider these 4 quadrants, now if you consider among the past karma and the present karma, which is in our control? Present karma is in our control. So broadly speaking, when we say commit, we commit to staying in these 2 quadrants. Ideally speaking, It is best if we can be in quadrant 4. This is the best. But if we can't be there, at least be here. That I don't know what my past karma is, but I can try to make my present karma sound, my present karma good. Now the opposite of this is over here. So this is something which we don't want. We don't want our present karma to be negative, because then we are creating a dark future for ourselves. So when we have the attitude of, we are talking about committing ourselves. So we commit to doing our present karma positively. Now when we are attached, what happens? We start thinking that, why am I not getting the results? And because I am not getting the results, so therefore I should do something bad. I should do something terrible to somehow get the results. And that's where we may start doing bad karma. So, say two players are there, say tennis or cricket, there's a rivalry. Now each player or each team wants to win, and they will do everything that they can to win. But if one team decides that we'll hire some contract killers and kill all the players in the other team, and then there's nobody from the other team to play, and we'll win the match. That would be horrible. It is meant to be a test of skills, a test of strength, a test of stamina. You be the better player, you be the better team, and you win. So this is where the difference between commitment and attachment. What is that? Commitment means I will do my part right now. Attachment is this has to happen. And if this doesn't happen, then to hell with everything. So that is what we want to avoid. Now we can do bad karma in the present in 2 ways. I hope this diagram is clear. We'll have some time for question answers at the end. But commitment means we keep doing the right thing, even if the results are not coming. Arjuna kept practicing archery. And Arjuna was a champion archer. Bhima was a champion mace fighter. But sometimes it happens that we may be good at one thing, but we are defeated by something completely different. And what happened? Yudhishthir was outclassed and fooled or cheated in a gambling match. And the Pandavas were Kshatriyas. They're trained to fight in a fair fight. But Shakuni used that, manipulated them. Sometimes things are just, life is such that things may be beyond our control, and because of that, we may get a raw deal in life. But we continue doing our part properly. That is commitment. Commitment is doing our part properly so that eventually the nature of karma is that negative phase does not last forever. It will come, it will go. Let me illustrate with some other example here. So if this is our life journey, now for all of us, we can say there is a past karma baggage. We could call it a karma cloud. That this is what is often called as destiny. Now this destiny is something which unfolds on us. So now a major installment of this comes to us at the start of our life itself. The family in which we are born, the country in which we are born, the locality in which we are born, maybe the complexion with which we are born, maybe to some extent the genes which determine our IQ level. So we get a major installment of karma right in the beginning of our life. And throughout our life, we may get certain installments of karma. Now some of them may be positive, some of them may be negative. So that means for no reason we might meet with an accident. And that's a negative karma coming. But sometimes, we apply for a job on some company on a whim, and suddenly we get into and just casually we're trying it out, and suddenly we get hired in a big company and we get a very good team lead and we learn a lot and we are growing very nicely in our career. But sometimes past karma works positively also. Sometimes it works negatively also. So the point is, commitment means we keep making sure that we are doing our present karma right. So when the Gita says karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan, that does not mean don't care for the results. Krishna says, the third line is ma karma phala heturbhur. Don't think that your present karma alone is going to give the result. So don't be too fixated on the result. If the results are not coming, don't become discouraged thinking that you are worthless. Don't become discouraged thinking that your whole life is worthless. No, it's not like that. Yeah, this is just a bad phase we are going through, and that bad phase will end with time. And that brings me to the last part of the talk, acronym ACE. Ultimately, the principle of karma is meant for encouragement. It is not meant for judgment. Now, judgment means what? You have done something terrible, so you have to suffer now. So sometimes karma is seen as a law, as a principle of justice and judgment. Now, yes, there is an element of judgment, but that is not the focus of karma. The focus is that our actions matter, even if they don't seem to matter. I am doing the good things, but I am not getting any results. But that does not mean we should stop doing the good things. Above karma is Krishna. While karma is a system of how the world works, karma is not just a mechanical system. It is governed by a personal divinity. And if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna has to fight a war against the Kauravas, especially when he has to fight against Bhishma and Drona, this is the stuff of nightmares for him. Why? Because Bhishma and Drona are not just elders for him. They're not just respectable elders for him. These are the elders from whom he learned archery. These are the elders for whose pleasure he learned archery. And now, these are the elders whom he has to kill with that very archery. He would do anything to not have to fight this war. Now, when he turns to Krishna and surrenders, Krishna does not give him any flashback from a past life, saying, oh, you were so and so in this life, and Bhishma was so and so in that life, and Drona was so and so, and you did this, and they did this, and that is why now you have to fight this war. No, the focus of the Bhagavad Gita and Krishna's approach to karma is very pragmatic. He says that you are here and you are facing life right now. So you do the best that you can. So what does it mean, encouragement, not judgment? That means that, our vision of life is finite. And the finite vision is not the final vision. The finite vision is not the final vision. And I am doing something right. Why are good things not happening to me? I am doing something good. Why are bad things happening to me? Oh, life is doomed. I am doomed. No, nothing like that. We're just going through a bad phase in life. So know that Krishna is with us and Krishna is for us. Just as Krishna was with Arjuna on his chariot. Like that, our body is also like a chariot. And the Krishna as the Paramatma is there inside us. He is with us and He is for us. So whatever difficulties we are facing in life, if we don't just look ahead and see why is this happening in my life, what can I do about it, we also look up to know that God is guiding me in life. And we focus on, no matter what bad is happening, God will guide me to a better place. Let me keep doing my part. Let me do my part in a mood of contribution, a mood of devotion. Then we can always be encouraged. No matter how difficult be the specific situation we are going through. So the idea of encouragement, I'll conclude with one last point, or rather 2 points, about the same point of encouragement versus discouragement. See, life will give us loss. It could be a loss of a job, it could be a loss of a particular project, it could be loss in a relationship. Loss will come for everyone. Now, how we process that loss? We could say, objectively, I have lost. This was an opportunity and I lost it. Or we could go further and say, I am lost. Now, I am lost comes from a very strong sense of attachment. Like, I wanted to do this and this didn't work out. What am I to do with my life? So I have lost is more associated with a sense of opportunity. But I am lost is associated much more with a sense of purpose. So among these two, which is more damaging? I am lost. However, there can be one more interpretation of our mind which can be the most damaging, and that is, I am a loser. Now, this is not just a damaging loss of purpose, this is a loss of self-worth itself. If, say, we were in a relationship with somebody who we thought was a loser, maybe it's a romantic relationship, maybe it is a business partnership, whatever it is, if we thought the other person is a loser, we would want to end that relationship as quickly as possible. By being with a loser, I'll also become a loser. Now, if we think we ourselves are losers, now can we break up with ourselves? Well, we can't. But unfortunately, we can try. And suicide is a tragic attempt to actually break up with oneself. So what happens here is the emotions, they can become very turbulent. And yes, we may experience loss in life, we may experience unfair loss in life. But just because we are experiencing loss, or even 1, 2, 3 losses, that does not make us a loser. All that it means is, yes, we are going through a negative phase in life. We have negative karma phases coming in our life, and that's why things are not working out. But if we keep trying, if we keep learning, if we keep growing as much as we can, we will come to a better phase. It's not that we won't come to a better phase. So that's why this philosophy of karma is not just some intellectual curiosity to learn. It can be a psychological lifesaver, because our emotions can sometimes completely overwhelm us. One of my friends is a mental health counselor specializing in suicide. He told me this well-known statistic, but I came to know it for the first time. He says that there is a significant disparity in suicide with respect to females and males. Now, females attempt suicide more. Males commit suicide more. Now, what is the difference? What is the reason for that? It is not a laughing matter at all, but it is tragic. What happens is, in the female body, the mind has to be much more sensitized to emotions. The female body is made in such a way that it's meant to take care of newborn babies. And newborn babies can't communicate rationally. So, the females have to be very aware of the emotions of those around them, and they're themselves very emotionally sensitive. And because of that, the emotions can go down very much. And when emotions go down, sometimes when you can go under the control of emotions, I want to end my life. So they attempt it. Now, on the other hand, the male body is actually geared for action and violence much more. Traditionally, fighters have been mostly males. So, physical fights more often break up between males than among females. In females, it might be more like verbal assault. So, actually, when males they can attack others, they can attack themselves also. And they won't just stop with attempting suicide, they will actually complete the attempt. So it is damaging for both. It can be disastrous for both. The point is not to highlight the difference, but the point is to understand the danger for everyone. So for us, when we are going through a bad phase in life, that does not make us a loser. That just means we are going through a bad phase right now. But even when we are going through a bad phase, that bad phase is something from which we can emerge stronger, we can emerge wiser. So when we are trying to practice bhakti, say when we come to a temple like this, we hear come to satsang, we hear, if we push through life, if we push through bad phases, we will actually become stronger by learning things from those bad phases. So if we consider our life journey, something bad happened, negative, it happened to us. Something terrible happened to us. But if we keep moving, so that means, we stay encouraged, we have our commitment, we keep doing things good, then at a later stage in our life, we will see that what happened to us, actually, it happened not to us, but it happened for us. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me. What it means is that yes, at that time it was terrible. Why did this person treat me like this? Why did this happen to me? Why did I lose this job? Why did I lose this opportunity? But if we push through life, in due course we may recognize that, okay, from this something good came out. Maybe I learned something about life. Maybe I learned something about myself. And a new door opened for me. So that is where, now, after this talk, you can go back and you can think in your own life. Can you think of even one incident where something that happened to you, now you realize it happened for you? That time it was terrible, and there's no denying it was terrible. But something good came out of it. So that bigger picture, we are not just here in this world fighting against the effects of the world being bad, or fighting against our own past karma. God is there with us. And God can translate what happened to us into what happened for us. Duryodhan tried to poison Bhima. And he succeeded apparently. Bhima disappeared and Duryodhan was gloating. He thought Bhima has died. But what happened? Bhima came back stronger. He was not indeed survived, but he came back with immunity to poison. The Kauravas tried to burn the Pandavas. And he thought they had been burnt. They survived, but they not only survived, eventually they won the hand of Draupadi, and earlier they were almost like orphan children. But now they were relatives, sons-in-law of a powerful rival king. Each bad thing that the Kauravas did to the Pandavas, they succeeded apparently. So at that time, this happened to them. But in due course, what happened to them turned out to be what happened for them. So this is how we, by looking upwards towards God, towards Krishna, and staying connected with Krishna, can stay encouraged in our life, no matter what phase we are going through in life. So I'll summarize what I discussed today. We discussed about understanding the principle of karma, for understanding karma in our lives. So I talked about 4 main points. First, we talked about the concept of karma. And in the concept, I talked about 4 aspects of karma. A is, ARCS was the acronym I used, action. R was reaction. Karma can refer to what we do. It can refer to the result we get from it. Karma can refer to the connection, that the principle of action and reaction. And then last S was selection, that we want to choose to do good karma. And the remaining part was an elaboration of these 3. So the acronym was ACE. A was what? Acceptance. And we are discussing 3 conceptions about karma. Acceptance, not passivity. So karma is not meant to say that, oh, you did bad and therefore you have to suffer right now. No, because of something bad, we may not get the results of what we are doing. So for example, We normally think of karma as action leads to result, but karma is causal. Karma is not just causal, it is also cumulative. That our present karma leads to results, but it is cumulative, means it is not just the present karma. So for us, there is present karma and there is past karma, and both come together to produce results. So now among these, we don't know what the past karma is. Therefore, what we can do is, if something bad is happening to us, we come to peace with it by understanding there must be some negative karma from the past that is happening in my life. And what was C? C was commitment. Commitment, not attachment. So attachment is about the phala. I want this to happen in my life. But commitment is, okay, if it does not happen, what can I do right now? So here I talk about these 4 quadrants. Our present karma can be positive or negative, and our past karma can be positive or negative. So we discussed how this is the phase where you can be super effective. That the Pandavas, after they had won the war, they were in this phase. If your present karma is negative, we are under effective. Vidura was in this phase. If neither, then we are ineffective. We want to do bad, but we can't even do bad. So Dhritarashtra before the war was in this phase. And this is where we are destructive. So Duryodhan was in this phase. So what we want to do is, commitment means that we try to ensure that we stay in these 2 quadrants. We would like to be in the 4th quadrant, but if not 4th, at least be in the 1st. If we become too attached, then we may go towards an unhealthy direction, and we don't want to go in that direction of doing bad karma in the present. And then last part was, E was what? Encouragement, not judgment. Now, God is not a fault-finding God. It is not that God is waiting. Hey, you did something wrong, now I'm going to punish you. Now, God is inside us. He's watching us, not to catch us when we fall. He's watching us. So He's not watching us to catch us when we do wrong. He's watching us to catch us when we fall, to help us rise. God is not like a cruel police person, just waiting to find some crime and punish. God is like a loving parent. A child is learning to walk, and the parent is watching. The child falls, the parent will run in and catch the child. So God is with us and for us. So if you understand this, then we can be encouraged. The principle of karma ultimately works under Krishna. So for us, our vision is finite. And if you understand that God is in charge ultimately, the finite vision is not the final vision. And therefore, we can be, the finite vision is not the final vision, what that means is, at a particular point I may feel this happened to me. Why did this happen to me? But if we keep pushing on, if we keep committed, then afterwards we may realize that the same thing, it happened for me. So we discuss example from the Pandavas, and what happened to me actually happened for me. So to summarize these 3 things, an acronym, if we are in life's journey, the A is for the past, come to acceptance with the past. C is the commitment to create a better future. And E is to look upwards, to know that God is with us and for us, and to stay encouraged in life. So acceptance, commitment, and encouragement can empower us to go through the toughest phases of life without letting those phases get down to us. Even if we face loss, that never means I am a loser. It just means that I am going through a difficult phase in life. I have lost, and yes, sometimes I lose, sometimes I win. So we don't want either of these interpretations. We want to understand I have lost and I will win. This way, each one of us can go through difficult phases in life and emerge stronger and wiser. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We encourage maybe one or two questions if somebody is having after such a enlightened session. Anybody wants to ask some questions? Yeah. Please be ready with your next question if somebody is having.
My question is, when we witness justice, when we have been broken by the misuse of power, how do we protect dharma without becoming destructive ourselves? When does the silence become maturity? When does it become surrender?
One of the key principles in the Mahabharata is that while we want to do dharma, what is dharma is not always very easy to understand. And say, for example, Vidura, he saw what was happening, the Kauravas were doing. He suspected that Bhima had attempted to be poisoned. He knew that there was a plot against the Pandavas when they were being sent to Varanavarth. Now, we may want to do the right thing, but we also need to choose our battles. So Vidura at that time did not confront Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, saying that how can you do this to your own nephews and your own cousin? He recognized that they were already in a dark place and they were not going to listen to him. So he decided to stay there and to assist the Pandavas from there. He informed them about what the plot that is there. He alerted them, warned them, and then he equipped them so that they could escape by digging a tunnel, and there was a boat person. I don't know how much you know the story. My point is, Vidura wanted to do the right thing, but he did not have at that time the strength to confront the Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. So he stayed there and chose a different battle. So standing for the right cause is important. But we also have to stand for the right cause in a way that brings about the right result. So what will bring it out? So sometimes there's a system that is corrupt, and we may say, I just don't want to be a part of the system. I'll leave the system and I'll create a different system. That's one way of looking at it. The other is we stay within the system and we grow within the system, and then we reform the system from within. Now, which is the right thing to do? Well, I won't say necessarily it is the right thing. I'm saying that it depends on person to person. If you see in the there are two characters. There is Vidura and there is Vibhishana. Now, both of them had one thing in common, that they both were good people on the bad side. Now, if you see, both of them chose different things. Vibhishana is sometimes called as a betrayer. He's called as a traitor because he went against Lanka. But actually he didn't go against Lanka. He went against Ravana. And Ravana was meant to be a protector of Lanka. A king should be protecting citizens. But here Ravana was endangering his kingdom for the purpose of his selfish desires. So he was betraying his kingdom because of his selfishness. So Vibhishan, by betraying the betrayer, he was disloyal to Ravan, but he was loyal to Lanka. He told Ram that your enmity is not against Lanka. Your enmity is against the current ruler of Lanka and those who are supporting him. And yes, he did become the king later, but then there was a smooth transition because he already knew about Lanka. So he was able to recoup the kingdom, recover the kingdom from the effects of the war much faster. Now Vidura, on the other hand, did not go on to the Pandavas side. He went on a pilgrimage when the war was happening. Why? Because Vidura felt that Dhritarashtra is not an evil person. It is Duryodhana who is evil. And as long as Duryodhana is there in Dhritarashtra's life, Dhritarashtra will not listen to me. But if he had gone to the Pandava side and he had been a party to the people who killed Duryodhan, then Dhritarashtra would have been so averse to him that Dhritarashtra would never have listened to him. So when he went on the pilgrimage and he came back later after Duryodhana was no longer in the picture, at that time Vidura spoke to Dhritarashtra and Dhritarashtra was able to listen to him. Dhritarashtra also became to some extent enlightened by that. So my point is, we may want to do the right thing, but what is the right thing? That has to be carefully decided. So in the material world, the whole material world runs by one basic principle. That is, see, dharma can be understood at multiple levels. See, there is, at a basic level, there is prakriti. Prakriti is nature. Now, nature runs by simply one principle: might is right. So, a lion may be a king of a jungle, but if the lion cannot run as fast as the deer will escape and the lion may starve to death. So, might is right is the basic principle of nature. Now, from Prakriti, we can go towards Sanskriti. Now, in Sanskriti, what happens? It is might plus virtue is right. Virtue is good qualities. Might plus virtue is right. So that means what? That, say, if there is a fire and people are trapped in the fire, then firefighters come and they save those people. The firefighters have to have the strength, the fitness to actually pick up people and save people. Somebody is drowning and they want to save someone. They have to be saved, but somebody who is trying to save them has to be fit enough to be able to swim properly. So might is always right in this world. The nature of human society is that we should develop a culture by which might plus virtue is right. Now, human society this is a desired direction of movement, but human society can also go downwards. And when it go downwards, it is called Vikruti. Vikruti is where it becomes might plus vice is right. Vice is durgun. Vice is bad qualities. So might will always be right in the world. Now, might doesn't have to be physical might. It can be political might, it can be intellectual might, it can be technological might, it can be networking might, whatever it is, according to their position and according to their disposition. So it is an individual decision that has to be made. And yes, sometimes when just as an individual can go through bad karma phase, a country can go through a bad karma phase. So if a country is going to bad karma phase, that means they may have a very bad ruler. And a terrible ruler may do a lot of atrocities, a lot of malpractices, and citizens will suffer. But the fact is that, the relieving, encouraging fact is that nothing is permanent. So even a tyrannical ruler will not be there permanently. So acquiring might in terms of using our skills, using our abilities, using our intelligence to maximize the strengths that we have, that is every individual's responsibility. Okay? Thank you.
As you are getting late, we'll have one question from boys. I think you raise it first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained, and thanks for all the nice explanations. So I would like to put my question in this way. I would like to begin with a very short, pragmatic, real-time experience of Abraham Lincoln, the former US president who failed for 8 consecutive number of times, before being appointed as the president. I would like to juxtapose this example and place a real-time example of our lives. Number one question would be, what if we fail for 6 to 7 times like Abraham Lincoln did? How long should we try back? Or we should leave, thinking of we are being over-attached to the results? The first question. The second question would be, shall we try back again or give up, feeling that, yes, we are overly, excessively, addicted to the results, success? So we should think in that way. The third question, the last one, the mindset. What should the mindset be like? Should it be like Virat Kohli being too much fierce or aggressive on a long run, or should it be like MS Dhoni, consistent, cool and calm?
I need another class to answer all this.
I think they can join tomorrow evening as well.
Sorry?
Tomorrow evening we will be having a session here. I'm
Yeah,
saying
sure.
if at all they have time, they can join.
Yeah, so I'll try to answer this as briefly as I can. Thank you for this very important question. See, generally, yes, there are many examples given of some people who, like Walt Disney, he tried many times. J.K. Rowling, she tried to, her novels were rejected many times, and she was phenomenally successful afterwards. And yes, such stories can be very inspiring. At the same time, it's important to recognize that when we talk about success or something like that, there is something which is intrinsic. There is intrinsic happiness and there is extrinsic happiness. So intrinsic happiness, you can call it as fulfillment, or to use a simple word, contentment. Contentment means that this is what I'm meant to do, I'm happy doing this. Now extrinsic happiness is achievement. So the examples that are often given of people who, like Thomas Alva Edison, tried so many times to invent a bulb. He failed many times, but he kept going on. So my understanding there is that these people had an intrinsic nature or natural interest or talent or inclination to do these things. And they got some happiness doing those things even if the world did not recognize it. There's a Nobel laureate author, he said that greater than the joy of being read, I'm paraphrasing him, for me greater than the joy of being read is the joy of having written. Now, any author who writes, they would want their books to be read. But some people just have that natural interest, inclination, nature, ability, propensity, whatever word you want to use. This is what I'm meant to do. Like if you have some small kids, some kids just like drawing. So their parents give them a magic slate and the kid draws some things and erases it and draws something. Sometimes the kid comes and shows it to the mother or the father. They nod. And then again they goes and draw. Sometimes they just keep drawing. Just happy doing that. So for all of us, if we are going to push on for a long time in a particular field, we need to be getting some intrinsic happiness in that. That means even if I don't get extrinsic happiness, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what, when I do this, the world feels right. I feel that I am at my place in the world. If we are getting no intrinsic happiness in doing something, then we will become extremely desperate for the extrinsic happiness. And if we don't get it, we'll become very bitter, even hateful, frustrated. So my understanding of whether to persist in a particular direction or not depends on, are we ready to do it even if we never get recognition from the world? Or the repeated failure to get recognition, is it making us more and more bitter and hateful? If that is happening, then better move to some other area where we can get some success in life. Now, naturally, everybody will want to succeed. We want achievement, not just contentment. But the problem is, if there is no contentment, then we start seeking achievement at all costs. And then that can make us disruptive or even destructive. That's where we can become obsessed with something. So that's one thing. Another thing I would say is that sometimes, I'll make 3 points about this. The second is that there is a desire, and underneath there is desire, there is a need. So sometimes a desire may not be fulfilled, and it may just not be fulfillable, but you can go deeper to see what is the need. So, for example, I was once giving a talk in Kota. Kota, as we know, is IIT Teacher Training Center. There was one boy there. He seemed much older than everyone else. And he told me this is his 10th attempt to give JEE. Now, IIT itself is 4 years. Now, is it worth it to spend 10 years to get into a course? Now, okay, if you get into IIT, that is great. But if you don't get into IIT, it's not the end of the world. And IIT is not the end. IIT is a means to the end. Now, once you get into the job market, you realize that which college you graduated from, it can give a starting boost. But afterwards, how you grow doesn't depend on where you got the degree. It depends on how you perform in the work, how you network with others, how you learn. So we have to see, okay, I want to be an IITian. Go deeper to see, what do I really want? Why do I want to be an IITian? So sometimes the desire may not be fulfilled, but the need underneath can be fulfilled. Okay, if I want to do something which is valuable, I want to do something which is remarkable, I want to do something which is noteworthy, okay, but maybe it may not work through the IIT pathway, it can work through some other pathway. So try to understand the need, don't just stick with the desire. That's the second thing. And the third thing is that now whether to be like say Dhoni or like Kohli. So my understanding is that everyone has their guna and their karma. So guna karma means, we could say guna is our disposition. And karma is like our position. So what is the position we have in the world? Earlier we talked about choosing our battles. So when to fight a battle and when to let go of things. That can depend on our position. Can I realistically win this position? And also it depends on our disposition. Jatayu knew that he was unlikely to win against Ravan when he tried to stop Sita. But he felt, she's like my daughter. How can I just watch on while she's being abducted? I'm going to fight. So sometimes it's a matter of disposition. So if you consider the Pandavas, if you consider say Yudhishthir and Bhima, it is difficult to imagine two siblings who can be as different as Yudhishthir and Bhima. Both of them are Kshatriyas, but Yudhishthir was more like a Brahman Kshatriya. That means he would bend backwards to avoid conflict. Always try to resolve things in a peaceful, philosophical, negotiational way. Now, Bhima was a Kshatriya. You could say he was Kshatriya squared. He would be itching for a fight. You're looking for an opportunity to fight. Now, both of them were dharmic, both of them were devoted. Now, Yudhishthir did not have to become Bhima, and Bhima did not have to become Yudhishthir. So, some people by nature will be more confrontational. Some people by nature will be less confrontational. So, the point is not whether we should be this way or that way. The point is how we can contribute the most. How we can do justice to our abilities in the best possible way. So, for some people it's being more confrontational. For some people it's being more non-confrontational. But the point is that we should be able to push forward. For some people, staying quiet is what enables them to focus the most. For some people, if they're bubbling with emotion, expressing those emotions gives them the energy and the focus more. So the point is not whether we are expressive or whether we are stoic. The point is whether we are purposeful and focused. So if we learn that, then we can decide which way to go forward. Okay? So thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.